All right. Welcome to the Collaboration Show. I'm so excited to have you guys here. My name is Darla Kirchner, and I am co-hosted with my awesome friends, Miss Emily Petroff, and a couple of the other girls are going to be joining us. So, why don't you go ahead and share about yourself and about what you do, and so everybody gets to know who you are.
Absolutely. So good morning, and welcome everybody thank you for joining us this morning. I am very blessed to be here. As Darla said, I think it's really wonderful when we all have an opportunity to collaborate, but when we have an opportunity to co-collaborate, it's even better, right? And so what do I do? So I am a life coach, business coach, health coach, relationship coach. And so it sounds like a whole lot of stuff, but one of the things that I really believe in is that when we hyper-focus in one area, what happens is that a lot of the other areas of our life fall apart. So if some stuff in our business isn't working well, it affects our health and our relationships. If something with our health is not quite right, it affects our relationships and our business. If something in our relationship isn't quite right, it affects our business and our health. So for me, my area of expertise, so to speak, is to really help people juggle and balance that, kind of like the dun 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 dun, right? Like the juggling act that we kind of have to do when we're navigating our businesses, our life, our love, and our health. And so that really is my area of expertise and the things that I work with people on. I would say I work more so probably like a 75-25 split, where it's women I work mostly with, but I do have a couple of gentlemen clients. And so that's kind of a little bit about me and what I do and how I work it out with people. So
that was awesome. She's amazing. I've known her for a couple years now. We met at a conference and it instantly became friends. And I can't imagine being on this journey without her, actually. So there you go. Yeah. So we got Africa with us now. Miss Africa, won't you go ahead and introduce yourself and tell everybody who you are and what fabulous things you do?
Hi, everyone. I'm Africa Arshield. I'm so excited to be here this morning. It's morning for me. I know evening for other people and the middle of the night even for others. I'm so excited to do this for me Friday mornings with Emily and Darla and sometimes Kate. It is a tremendous opportunity to just give back and really get to talk to everyone. I'm a guide to women with a message. I specialize in helping them start, grow, and scale their business through the use of technology. I help you navigate all those technological hurdles. And since we're in October, all the technological scary bits.
Scary stuff.
Make everything talk together. So I'm super excited to be here. I know I'm a little late, so I'm going to be quiet and see what's shaking.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. So my name is Darla, and I'm so blessed to be around to have these wonderful, awesome ladies in my life. And I'm a brand strategist and a visual design person, and I love to concentrate with online entrepreneurs or entrepreneurs who want to grow their business online or up-level their business. And I help them create a strategy that works for them, that is authentic to them, that speaks to themselves, that attracts their ideal client, which I love talking about, and showcases their work online. So yeah, so that's basically what I love to do. And let me go ahead and let Tanya in. Tanya was trying to find a spot. I can't get my cursor to come over here. Where'd it go? There it is. Okay. So we're excited that you guys are all here, and it was perfect timing for Miss Tanya. So I like to live a laptop lifestyle and create business for people. I love doing that, so I can travel and be anywhere, so that you can share your message. And so we thought it'd be really kind of fun to talk about things that scare you, because we all have those issues, right, guys? We all have challenges, and it wouldn't be it's all about the journey, right? Yeah. So it looks like Tanya's going to come in. I had mentioned earlier, I don't know if you guys saw it, not coming in clear. So Tanya is new to Blab, and I spent a little time with her yesterday trying to help her get on Blab, and thank goodness the Blab guys came in and helped us too, which was awesome. So she's trying to do it via her iPad while she's at work in between meeting clients. So I don't know if it's going to work or not for her. So let's talk about, some of the things, about, if anybody here in the audience, if you have a question or if you have a topic you want us to talk about, just put the backslash and a Q, and that indicates to us that you have a question, and we will be monitoring that. I'm going to go ahead and let Africa be a co-host. Just found out how to do that. I just did.
Ooh.
Make this
I'm
person.
no longer the co-host. I lost my powers, whatever they were.
I think you are a co-host now.
Now I am.
Now you are? Okay, good. I want to make sure. So that way we can all go back in and back and forth, and somebody gets knocked out. Like if I get knocked out, you guys can keep the show going. So, okay? All right. Tanya, honey, I'm sorry. I don't know why it's not coming in. I'm sorry, honey. I'm going to go ahead and knock you back out and see if you can get back in. I don't understand why.
Internet connection, sometimes because she's saying it's not coming in clearly and we're broken.
I don't know if you can find another place that's closer. So, let's try it again, Tanya. I know she'll keep trying for us. So let's talk about some of the things that kind of scare you in your business. Oh, here's going to try one more time. Okay. There we go. One more time. So we made a whole list of things, but we really want to hear from you guys too, because we really want to focus on the things that are scaring you in your business. For me, it can be a whole host of things. Technology can scare me, and trying to figure out all the back end stuff, which I know Africa's my girl for that. I mean, anything technology based, I go to her for that. If I'm having an issue with something with an internal thing, something that's in my head that's just got me blocked, and I'm going, I can't, I don't feel like I'm of value, or I'm not helping, or I'm not being able to make things work, or I'm second guessing myself or giving that negative self-talk, then I'm going to talk to Emily, because she's my gal for that. So it's, like Emily was saying, so many different things can knock you off your game. And most of us are solopreneurs. And, or we work with small teams. So a lot of it relies on us, right, to get it done. And so you don't typically have as solopreneurs and entrepreneurs, we don't have a boss. We don't have a colleague typically to go to. So that's why we wanted to put this collaboration show together, so that we could all help each other out, because that's part of what we love to do too. So, yeah. So it looks like Mariner Jason might have a question. You have a question, honey? Just go ahead and comment it. Okay. Yes.
Yeah,
thanks.
Yeah. Oh, how do we advertise?
How do we advertise? Okay.
That's a very scary thing, marketing. So let me, one of y'all start, and I'll just pick up whatever Zot said, because I have so many things I could say.
I'm going to let Em let you start, because you actually have a lot of marketing background.
Yeah, so I think that, there's a lot of, as Africa said, there's a lot of different ways that we can market our business and advertise our business. And I think that you have to find the thing, like you have to get really clear about, we talked about this a little bit last week, and I think it's kind of an ongoing theme, but we talked about your ideal client and who you're, who you're really speaking to. And I think it's really, really important to identify that. And if you don't know who your ideal client is, it's going to be hard. It's sort of going to feel like you're just, throwing stuff at the wall and hoping that it sticks. And I did that for a lot of years in a lot of different businesses that I had, whether it was, and a lot of my businesses that I've had were brick and mortar businesses. So I'm building them on a local level. So that's one aspect that I'll say is I think you have to really get to know your ideal client. And like I said, Darla is the queen bee on getting to know your ideal client, right? So that's the first important thing that you have to know. The second thing is that you have to really know you well, right? And that for me is something that's really, really important, because if you know your ideal client, but you don't know you, sometimes you can go in places looking for them that don't feel comfortable to you, and then you don't rock your kind of confidence, and then you don't acquire clients, right? So if you know where they are, and then you know who you are, or who they are and who you are, there can be this really beautiful collaboration, or this really beautiful thing that happens. And so you can begin to market in a lot of different spaces. But I'm just going to talk about, for me specifically, I am a networking whore, right? I love to network. And so I like to build my business through avenues that allow me, like this. Blab is a great online networking tool. I've met a lot of amazing people online in this way, but I like to connect one-on-one. I like to connect face-to-face and in small groups. So for me, when I'm building my business locally, I go to chamber networking events. And it's the best way for my type of business. The best way for me to get my name out to somebody and have them have an experience of me, which is the other reason why Blab, I think, is so great, because you get to share your authentic personality and it comes across to people like that. Whereas I think sometimes video is great, but I didn't have as good a success with video because instead of having an organic and authentic conversation, it was like, oh, I'm supposed to hit these 5 points and shit, I forgot to say that. And oh God, now I got to start over because I ummed and awed too much. And oh my God, it's just so hard, right? So I think that you really have to find the things that make sense for you and allow you to really be authentically you. Keep challenging yourself a little bit. And then I don't know that it matters really what forum you go in as long as you really know yourself well. So that's kind of my 2 cents. I'm a big fan of Facebook groups because I can connect with people. I can but I always would say to them, like, hey, let's hop on a Skype, next week and connect and, just chat. So I'm really a face-to-face connector. That's sort of how I advertise my business. But I had to get really clear about who it is that I'm looking for and who it is that I am so that I could bring those 2 things together.
Yeah, totally agree. Totally agree with what the girls are saying. And so for me, for advertising, very similar to what Africa and Emily are saying. I like to do face-to-face. I definitely like to be able to talk one-on-one with people. So, and I do it more like social selling. So I have, I'm actually reworking my email marketing strategy, which Kate, couldn't be here today. She's an expert at that. She's my go-to girl for everything email related. So I do a lot of, I blog every week. I share that with my community first, which is my email list. And so I try to do things organically. I try to give value. So, how I advertise is typically mostly all online. I am starting to do more things live. So I just had some connections. Ironically, met some awesome ladies here on Blab that came to the Blab show that live in my area. So I've had coffee with them like Emily does, trying to connect with people, like-minded people, so that you can build that synergy, right? And so, so I find that that's really helping me a great deal. And you never know where it's going to lead. So I just really try to always offer value and be of service to people. So, for me, it's about doing it that way. As far as advertising and paid, I do some Facebook ads. I will tell you that I'm not a queen. I'm not great at them. So I always I'll go to Africa, I'll ask for help. Because you want to make sure that you're tapping into the right person, which all goes back to your ideal client, right? So knowing where they are will really help you. So if you are online and your business is online and your ideal client is hanging out on Twitter and you're not, you better be on Twitter. So those are kind of the things that I like to talk to my clients about. But yeah, so I hope that helps you, Jason, as far as, advertising and stuff. I don't do a lot of paid advertising. I like to do it like this way. It's more about, I've never been a pushy, either you like me and you want to work with me or you don't. And so I like to be, to me, I am the brand. So I try to put myself out there and be authentic in who I am. So I do work with clients that do, where I do some online, or I do print advertising for them. So I can help them with their print collateral as well. I don't do as much of that in my graphics. I notice that not a lot of people are doing that as much, doing a lot more online. A lot of people want to know online. So if that's where your clients are, then, and you want to do direct marketing, then you might want to consider that. So it really kind of boils back down to that whole, who is your ideal client, right? So that's my 2 cents.
I'm going to give my really quick 2 cents, Mariner. I'm going to, because what Darla and Emily pretty much covered it, I think. So only thing I would add is on the paid advertising, like Darla said, you've got to really super know your ideal client, like thoroughly, or you're just wasting money. You just might as well take it outside and set it on fire. Okay. Because you're not marketing everyone. You're marketing someone very, very specific. And what's beautiful about paid advertising is it lets you have that specificity. But you have to know those markers. You have to know exactly who they are. And if you don't know that, like I said, you just might as well set your money on fire. So that's what I would say about paid advertising. And then, of course, there's a lot of testing. So there is a little bit of feeling like you're setting your money on fire, because you have to test different markets to make sure they're jiving with your message and you're using the right language. And, it's just like anything else. There's a bit of trial and error in it. But once you nail it, you'll see how easy it is to get in and shine in front of your ideal clients, which I think is wonderful. The other thing I would say, and this is kind of going back to something that Emily said, you've got to feel really super comfortable with whatever you're doing. Paid advertising, being on video, blogging, whatever it is. It's got to be something natural and authentic to you, and a way that your clients or your ideal clients want to consume information from you. So hopefully there's a match. And if they're your ideal client, there will be a match in there somewhere. I promise you. And exactly. That is how you're going to get the best results. I love video. I love stuff like Blab. I love answering questions. And therefore, it's a real easy way for me to connect and get out in front of my clients. And I'm going to say this for paid advertising, it's better not to send someone directly to an offer, so to speak. So, you could do Facebook ads or Twitter ads or whatever that go to some kind of opt-in so they get something for free, not necessarily something they're paying for, right? But also what I have found, I'm testing this. Okay, so what I found so far to be kind of interesting and useful is to send out content. So I do ads for content I put up. And then they get so interested in that content, they're like, oh, so I get on her list. So it's like having them opt in without opting in. They opt in as kind of like a happenstance because they want to still keep informed. So I have a whole strategy. I'm not going to go through all that right now because I think that's probably excessive, but consider that it's not just advertising to get them to an opt-in. It's also putting out your content so that they know that you have good content, and it's worth even opting in just for that, as well as whatever it is that you have for an opt-in or a freebie or a lead magnet, whatever you might call it. Okay.
That's awesome.
Oh, I thought we had Tanya there for a second.
I thought we had her, but then we lost her. No, Tanya, I don't know, honey. I'm gonna pop it out again and see if you can get back in again. That's a great question. You guys can let us know if you have any other questions. Again, are there certain things that you're challenged with that are like roadblocking you or stopping you in your business? And marketing is a big deal. It really should be. I learned this about 10 years ago, that you should be spending up to 50% of your time or more marketing your business. And I believe that. And I know that that's one of the reasons why I'm an early adopter to a lot of these programs, like live streaming and Periscope and Blab, and I love being here because I think it's more about authentically sharing what you, who you are, because that way people get to know, like, and trust you, right? And so, and get to know, and then they can say, okay, I think I really would like to get to work with that person or get to know them. So it's more of an organic thing. That's what seems to be working for me.
I think so much has changed over the last even 5 years, right, in the way that we market. And there's so many more people online that really, really are wanting, Darla, as you said at the beginning, that laptop lifestyle. Like, that's something that I'm really working to build so that when my kiddos are, I got a decade left on my sentence or a little less, and then I am out of here, right? Like, I am not in Montana anymore. Like, I am flying the coop and, really wanting to be able to have that strong and consistent brand, that strong, consistent revenue, that, a system in place that drives being able to work from anywhere you are, right? Like, that is, I think, if you surveyed all the people that are online that you're connected to, I bet you wouldn't find but a handful of them, if that would say, nah, that doesn't really appeal to me, right? Who doesn't want that? Everybody wants that. And so the system, I think, is really important. The other thing that I found that is interesting with the shift in the way that we market is, I think, years ago, it was just about repetition and consistency, you know, putting that message out there over and over and over and over and over again until somebody finally went, oh, okay, that makes sense. I'm going to do that. But now it's a much deeper decision-making process for people, right? They need to know who you are. There's so many of us out there, so many coaches, so many people that are offering their piece of themselves to the world. And so it's important for people to be able to connect with us. So I think we have to slow that train down a little bit and be able to, as Africa was saying, you know, really, really share your content from that authentic place, right? So that people can really know who you are and what it is that you can bring to the table to help them through whatever challenge or aspiration it is whatever it is that they may be, you know, wanting or challenged with. So it's interesting to look at the different ways that things are evolving in the marketing space.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, great answers. And one of the things I thought it would be interesting, and I want to ask. I think Angie has a question here too, so I want to make sure we address that. But I think sometimes it can be the fear of embracing change. It could be the fear of embracing technology or new things. And you just gotta let that stuff go, right? You're gonna have, especially now in this age, things happen so fast. Who knows what's gonna be the next live streaming thing, right? So you have to be open to that. And I think as entrepreneurs, we have so much more opportunity to shift so much faster than big companies and things like that do, because they have so many more, there's a lot more involved with that process where we can just shift around, which is pretty cool. So, and the other thing I was going to say too is when Emily's talking about, how there's so many of us out there, and there are. So that's the other thing. It's like, if you know what your purpose is and you know who you are and you're very, very comfortable with that, you need to figure out what's going to differentiate you from the pack. So the more you are uniquely yourself and not trying to emulate other people, then the right people that want to work with you will find you. And so I truly believe that. And that took a little while. That wasn't something that I just went, I just know this. Mm-hmm. I learned this.
Right.
Yeah, because there was always these people that wanted to do that. So it looks like we got Stephanie in the house. You guys okay if I bring her in?
Mm-hmm. We also should answer Angie's question.
Yeah, let's answer Angie's question while we're getting Stephanie on here. Go ahead, Emily. Do you want to start answering Angie's question?
Yeah, I will answer Angie's question, and I'm gonna, I hate to beat a dead horse, but when it makes sense, right? Starting with the ideal client, right? She's saying, what is the best way to promote yourself and your business? I don't know that there's just one solid strategy, right? There's a million different strategies that work for people depending on your business. The other thing that I think is really, really important is to so not only to know your ideal client, but to shoot, I just lost it. Go, Africa. Damn, it'll come back to me.
It'll come back to you. When that happens.
Knowing the ideal client, like Emily is saying, knowing what I said earlier, how best you can serve yourself, and knowing the kind of business you have. Like, I have more of a coaching business, so does Emily, somewhat Darla. Stephanie sells, different kind of products, and those are totally different ways to market and to get your business out there and promote it. So it's setting up multiple sales funnels, finding out what works best for your clients, knowing the kind of business that you're in the way, like I said, that they want to be approached, and taking your info. But I'm trying to think, Stephanie, you do organic. I'm like my brain's crying out.
I know.
Products is why
products for dogs and pets, and then also you have a
wellness
center.
Yes.
Yes, I co-own I'm a massage therapist. So it depends. Like, if you're in a small community, I would suggest to get involved in the community,
Mm-hmm.
get the community people, because they're the ones who are going to keep coming
Absolutely.
back. So it depends on what her business is too.
Yeah.
So depends.
I remembered it. It came back to me. Okay, so I think you have to have a goal, right? Like we get on and we we don't necessarily have a purpose or a goal in mind outside of like, oh, I just want to make money. And then I think it can get really wonky or really fuzzy when you are marketing yourself, right? So I think it's really important to know, okay, well, this platform, my goal is this. This platform, my goal is this. This program, whatever it is, your strategy that you're using, you have to really have a goal in mind. Because if you don't, it's sort of, again, back to that whole like, well, I don't really know how to measure this, or I'm not measuring it, so I don't know if it was successful or not in regard to what it is that I'm trying to get from it. So I think that's something that's really, really important.
And I want to say something on that too, Emily. Don't be afraid to measure. Don't be afraid to track, because that can be a scary thing too. It's like, well, how do I go about tracking if this is going to work? How do I look at my numbers? There's so many, even if you watch YouTube videos on analytics or whatever, you can figure out how to track, or just do it the old-fashioned way. Make little hash marks, right? And cross them out and keep it in like a little notebook. Whatever works for you. You don't have to jump into an Excel spreadsheet, but you do have to track. And what you track and focus on will grow.
Absolutely.
And so whatever that strategy is I want more followers, I want more people on my email list, whatever it is, you got to track it. Because if you're not tracking it, you're wasting time. You're wasting your effort. I'm sorry, Stephanie, I'm rambling.
Okay, I need a suggestion, ladies. One of the things in our wellness center, we do acupuncture, massage, and organic facials. I have a new facial person, and she's amazing. And she's been with us for 2 months now. So the first month was awesome. We had everyone trying it. Now we are, now we have to go out and like get those people or do something different. We have a Facebook ad going on. We have local paper ad going on. So, we all have our things we need to figure out, it's like, that was a great answer, Emily. That was beautiful. So spot on, because if you don't have a goal, and you, Africa, if you don't have the analytics and have all that down, it's, you gotta, that's where I'm at. Sometimes I have so much going on in my head, it all gets messy because I've got to focus on the massage. Now facials, the frequency jewelry, the pet products, going to this network group, it's like, it can be a little bit, if you don't have it, a goal set, and have it here.
It feels like you're bipolar, doesn't it? Like you're like, wait. Like, I don't know.
ADD, it's like,
That's true. That's true. And a lot of times, it's hard. We keep talking about, we've mentioned a few times about like your ideal client stuff, but you're not going to have just one. You're going to have a few people. But if you focus on that one, whenever you're thinking about promoting a product, whether like, for Stephanie, whether it's, if it's organic dog, facials versus organic dog food, that's going to be a whole different ballgame. You're going to be talking to them differently.
Oh,
exactly. So you have to really be focusing and thinking and planning ahead, right? So I think that's great. So did you have another question, Stephanie?
Do any of you guys have a virtual assistant? I keep hearing the whole theme this last week has been virtual assistants. Like it would be so exciting to have virtual assistant. There's some virtual assistants who can pretty much do everything, when you don't know how to do anything, they can find it and do it. And
right. Yeah, if you find some good ones, they're awesome to have. And sometimes it takes a little while to find the right one. But there's some amazing services out there that you can find virtual assistants. Emily, Africa just found one, and you just did an ad, didn't you, Africa? Is that how you found it?
Ad, and actually the platform I advertised on, she wasn't even on. A friend of her told her, hey, I think this would be the perfect person for you to work with. And then she just emailed me all her information, and I feel like I struck gold. I literally feel like
I've got to get to my office. I've got a 9 o'clock massage, and it's like 8:35, and I got to load the car. But guess what, guys? Today's my last day of being 49. So this is a whole other mind fuck. This is a total mind fuck. Gonna turn 50.
It's all good. 50
I'm gonna do one massage, and then I'm picking up my best friend at the airport. She's coming in at 11:45. My family's throwing me a party tomorrow. I'm having a girls' night out. I've got one client left. I'm in sale mode.
Yay! Go, Stephanie!
Happy birthday, sister.
Happy birthday.
You know, one thing you guys don't know about me is I'm also a Zumba teacher. I love to dance. I was a belly dancer for over 20 years. So dancing's a big part of my life. I teach Zumba.
Awesome. You go Zumba the night away.
And I've got a 24-year-old son who's amazing, who's throwing this party for me tomorrow. If you see my outside, here, let me turn my camera around if I can. I don't know if I could turn my camera around, but he has lights outside in the backyard. He came over yesterday and he strung up lights and he has all these tables outside. I'm going to have you.
Yay!
Birthday.
That's great.
They've got the tables
That's
outside.
awesome.
Big
Happy
party.
birthday.
Yeah, have a great time. Have a great day, Stephanie.
Bye.
All right, guys.
Bye.
Mwah. Love you. You guys are amazing. I can truly call you guys my mentor.
Oh, thank you, honey. You have a great birthday. It's gonna rock it.
See you when I'm 50.
Oh, that sounds awesome. Bye. So it looked like I know that there was a couple. Somebody had made a comment I wanted to kind of go back to. I think it was Jason again. He had made a comment. He said, you know, free platforms still cost you. I thought that was an interesting comment. You know, and I agree with that because what cost you? Cost you time, right? So that's something that I think is we all have to be cognizant of too, because you can lose track of time so quickly. Yeah. You could be, you know, thinking you're working on something and then you realize you're on Facebook and you're scrolling or whatever, which I try to really monitor my time and kind of track everything. But sometimes you're on something and think, is this really, am I working in my business or on my business? That's a whole other topic of conversation, right? Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. So you guys let us know if you guys have any other questions about things that scare you, because we'd love to know what's on your mind. What are some things that are holding you back? You know, because we all have them, right?
Yeah, I think it's probably interesting because this is something that I hear from my clients a lot, and when it comes to, since we're sort of on the marketing theme, kind of staying on the marketing theme, I tend to I did this. I think I shared this with you, Darla. I can't remember exactly, but it's there's this book called Rock Your Feminine Biz for Your Feminine Type. And so it's sort of a personality typing. And so I typed myself in my business to figure out, you know, what it is, what my real strengths are. There's sort of 8 personality types. And so you kind of go through this and those are how you really rock your feminine business. And so as I was looking at that, one of the things that I really realized as I was surveying my clients is that I attract people that are very different than me. And the reason why is because they're typically more introverted and not as extroverted as I am. And yet they really want to take some of that and add it to their personality. They want to be more bold. They want to be a little more diva, right? They want to have a little more of that going on. And so I think it's interesting when we look at our businesses, the types of personalities that we are attracting as far as clients go, and what we can really pour into them to help them succeed in their own business. And so one of the things that I hear from my clients a lot that scares them, because they are a little more introverted, is really putting themselves out there, right? Whether it's, marketing is about really tearing everything down and just being bold and sharing yourself. And so that can be something that, you know, is a really scary process. And I think, you know, most of us grew up in an environment where we hid from all of that. Like, don't be your authentic self. Like, only speak when you've been spoken to, you know, all of these things. And so now through our businesses, we're uncovering a lot of those old tapes that don't serve us anymore. And they really can hinder who we are as marketers and how successful our business really is. So when you show up in a room, like Darla, you were just at Social Biz, what was it, last weekend, right? Or the weekend before?
3 weeks, actually. Okay. It's 2 or 3 weeks. Crazy.
Okay. Do you show up in a room the way that you know is possible for you, right? Or do you dim your light a little bit, right? Do you show up in a blab space like this in the way that that's possible for you? Do you show up on Facebook being authentically you, or do you hide behind these safe quotes? Do you hide behind, this and that? So it's interesting, I think, to really look at marketing and how we connect with people. And are we being as bold as we really want to be? Are we being as bright of a light as we know is possible for us?
I think that's beautiful what you just said. I mean, lots of props for that, because and it's so true, because that did happen to me too, honestly, because it's so easy. You're in your comfort zone, right? You're in your own little area, and even though it wasn't always like this for me when I first started out on video, I mean, Emily and I were at Brendan Burchard's Experts Academy, and they were talking about how you need to be on video. You need to be on video. That was scary as shit for me.
Absolutely.
And I'm like, I can't do this. And it took me tries after tries after tries to even get on it. So but then, for people that are just meeting us now, they're like, wow, you guys are just so natural. And it looks like you guys have been doing this for years. It's like, well, that didn't come with a lot of hard work and effort. Pushing ourselves out of the comfort zone. So the same thing happened, it's constant. Once you get into it, you got to push yourself out again. I love that quote. You guys know that I love this quote, step outside your comfort zone. That's where the magic happens. And it is true. It's scary, but it's true. And that's what I've noticed when I went to the conference. I've been to conferences. I know how to be at conferences, but I didn't know a lot of these people. I hardly knew anybody there. And so you have to put yourself up and saying, hi, I'm Darla. I'm a branding girl. What do you do? And so, and I found myself, shying back, and I had to keep pushing that boundary to get back out. So yeah, just doing that, doing chamber stuff. Emily rocks the chamber stuff. I don't necessarily do the chamber stuff. And is it because I'm afraid, or is it because I really think my ideal client's not there? I don't know. It could be a little bit of both. It could be a little bit of both. So, but it's just meeting other people too, finding other people and saying, hey, let's have coffee. Just being authentic and being yourself and finding a way for you to get out there and just keep pushing yourselves out is something that I would highly suggest. Are we missing something over there?
No. I would say, Darla, can you go ahead and put in your Facebook fan page? Andrew was asking how to reach out to us.
Oh, sure.
Facebook. We're all our names, so you can always just put us in graph search and just a friend. And then I thought we'd have our fan pages in there.
I think it's a great. Yeah.
Brought up something very interesting. Social media, or being social is time consuming, and social media is cool, but there's a lot out there.
Oh, heck.
I limit my time on social media because and which channels I actually engage in. I probably have accounts in almost all of them, but I only engage in the ones where I know my ideal clients are, or, if it's just because I think it's cool. And I definitely limit my time. I literally will put a timer on my phone so that I don't get lost in the stream or in the feed, so to speak. Because it can just get too crazy to check. I found myself at one point, and Vid's kind of bringing this up, checking my phone and getting on social media with my family in front of me, and we're out to eat. That's just crazy pants. So now I have to put it away because I don't want that to happen anymore, because I do want to connect. And I don't do chamber events like Ms. M, but I find my ideal clients elsewhere. So being off of social media and out from behind the computer and going to interact with people in real time and real space where you can touch them is a wonderful thing to do. And it's just about, I think, and Emily was talking about this, kind of expanding and owning the room, just getting very expansive, because your ideal client needs to see you. And if you're shrinking back, they're not going to see you, and they need you. They absolutely need you. So expand and own that room, whether it's a Facebook group or physically owning the room when you're walking in at some kind of event. Mm-hmm. So,
yeah, shine your light, right?
Yeah,
and that's not always easy to do. So Kate's in the house. Yay, Kate's here. Now it's a Friday party.
Hey, ladies. Sorry that I'm so late. I had an appointment I couldn't get out of, but I'm glad I've at least managed to catch you for 15 minutes. So, hey.
Perfect.
So glad you are here. So, Kate, I don't know what all you heard, but we're talking about things that scare you, and marketing seems to be the theme for today. So, do you have anything you would like to add, or things that are scaring you, or things that you're working through to help you with your marketing?
Oh, things that scare me. Life scares me. I think that, you know, whatever we do, there's always something that holds you back. And I find that, you know, it doesn't matter what it is. Something that really scares me is picking up the phone to people, which is crazy, right? Because I'm such a talker. And yet when it comes to getting on the phone with people, my heart starts racing and, you know, all of these things. So I think even things that we would think would be normal are pretty scary. And I think fear is the biggest problem that we all have. You know, I was in Paris a few weeks ago with a couple of girls that I mastermind with, and we sort of talked about how fear can really hold you back. And it was quite funny because over the next few days, everything we talked about, we just sort of went, ding, ding, there's the fear again. So I think it's in everything. It's in everything you do. And it's about learning to just say, there it is. I can feel it. I know it's there, but bye-bye, I'm going to do it anyway. So I think there's lots of things that are scary.
Dance. That's so true. That is so true.
I think I wanted to. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, Vic really nailed it. People overcomplicate things. So we start going through scenarios in our heads about what could go wrong. What if they say this, but I don't know what to say, and or whatever it might be. And it's most of it, I'd say probably 99% of it, it has no basis in reality.
I agree. Totally agree. It's our own minds. They're a cruel, cruel master, our brains.
No, I wanted to ask you ladies a question, and especially Kate too. We were kind of talking about, you know, showing up in spaces and dimming our light and, you know, that kind of thing. And I think that I hear also from entrepreneurs, and I think that Darla, you and I have discussed this pretty heavily, how sometimes the fear of being in your industry and not being as good as the next person, right? Like that comparison to somebody else who's been doing it, or maybe not even, they don't have more experience than you, but they show up and they're like, bam, here I am. And you're like, wait a minute, how come I'm not doing that? How come I'm not showing up like them? And then there's this weird, like Kate was saying, there's this weird stuff that happens in our head that, you know, we start to sort of talk ourselves down from being as bold and as beautiful as we can be. So I kind of wanted us to address that a little bit, because I think that's a very real thing for all of us at some point, and certainly everybody else that is here too.
Oh, absolutely. I think that's a great point. Who wants to hop in first? Who wants to comment on that?
Kate needs to. She hasn't been here that long.
I'll jump in on that one, because actually that's something that I suffer with. It's that comparisonitis, isn't it? You know, there's lots of people in my industry that I follow, and, you know, I hear them speak and I think, wow, you know, people really listen to you, and oh, you're so clever, and all of these things. And actually, do you know what? I did it yesterday. I went onto a webinar that was being run by a company in my industry. It's an email marketing company. And you always think, oh, you know, they're going to be doing something really clever. And literally every single time that I log into a webinar that someone else in my industry is doing, and I mean, these are leaders in my industry as well. You know, they really are the people that I look up to. And I sit there and I listen to the webinars and I think, seriously, this is what you're teaching? You know, the one yesterday was about how to check your emails before you send them. And I was sitting there going, basics, oh my goodness. And I think sometimes, you know, again, we need to get out of our own heads, and we need to remember that what we know and what we think is a basic isn't necessarily what our clients think is a basic. You know, so I think that that's a key point. But, you know, actually for me, not avoiding my competitors, so actually actively going and watching their webinars, reading their blogs, it makes you really just sort of go, whoa, yeah, I know this stuff. Why aren't I pushing it out there more? You know, why aren't I doing this? And I think especially for me, because I'm 30, so a lot of the people that I follow and look up to are perhaps slightly older than me. You know, there's one lady in particular that I can think of who is probably about 25 years older than me. But that doesn't mean that she's got more experience in email than me, because email is actually only about 15 odd years old. So I've been doing it pretty much since email marketing was there. And you just sort of think, well, hang on a minute. She's just got more self-confidence than I do. It's nothing to do with my knowledge. I know the same things that she knows. And in fact, she's coming to me asking me to do projects for her clients. But it's my own self-confidence that's holding me back. So I think, again, it's that fear, isn't it? You think, oh, well, are people going to look at me and think, oh, well, what's she talking about? What does she know? You know, that kind of thing. But do you know what? I know the same, if not more than they do. You know, I've got valuable information to put out there, and there's enough room for all of us. So that's my thoughts.
Okay, great. Oh, you hit it on the head.
Rejection or challenge, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, fear of being challenged by them. Absolutely. I know I went onto a webinar once, and do you know what? I think this is where it comes from. The tiniest things can do this to us, and it replays in your brain. I was on a webinar with somebody in the industry. Now, this person is notorious for not being very nice. So that's the first thing to say. And he'd said something during the webinar, and I'd picked up on it. And you know, when you think that is a ridiculous thing to say, how can you say that? So I'd picked up on it, asked a question about it, and, you know, sort of picked up on what he'd said. And he'd used an example, and I think it was an example of, you know, like 3 emails, or it was something like that. There was a number in it, and I picked up on it. And in my question, I'd said, well, if you're saying this, blah, 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 you know, what's this? And he picked up on my question, and he berated me on this webinar, right? I don't think he knew it was me, but he'd picked up my question, and he went mental on the webinar. He was ripping the question apart. He was having a go at me as the person who was asking the question. It was a horrible experience. I mean, I came off the webinar and I felt like a complete idiot because he'd called me an idiot, even though I'd only picked up on something that he'd said. And he was going, oh, well, if you picked up on that and then think that's right, then, you know, you're an idiot. And it literally, he went off on one. And I think that what you've got to do is, you know, firstly, the way that he handled that was completely wrong. There are no stupid questions as far as I'm concerned, and you shouldn't be treating people like that. And actually what I've learned since then is that in the industry, he is more laughed at than respected. So if something comes up and they mention, oh, this person, people are laughing at him, not with him or anything like that. So I think there's perception, and there's, you know, different people's perceptions, and we need to remember that not everybody is nice. And, you know, even the littlest things can throw us, but we have to learn to be confident in ourselves. But, you know, it can be really scary when you're challenged by someone, particularly someone who is very successful, or, you know, I mean, he runs a very big business. That doesn't mean that he's a nice person or that he knows everything. And the way he responded, actually completely wrong. So I think that you need to learn how to be challenged. You know, I think that putting yourself in that situation can sometimes actually be good, because you're learning how to deal with it. Until you're challenged, you don't know how to deal with it. But I came off of that and I cried my eyes out. It was horrible. So it's learning how to deal with it, learning your own self-confidence, and learning how to fight back. And I think that, you know, for me, that comes down to, you know, when I was at school, I was bullied and all things like that. And that's where that problem for me with being challenged really comes in. And it's things that we may not even realize are affecting us, but they do. In everyday life, they affect you. And you need to be able to see that and say, right, that's the problem. I need to fix this. This is a problem that I've got. You know, yeah, he's got a problem because he dealt with that in the wrong way, but I need to fix how I reacted to it. That's the key. So, yeah.
That's awesome.
I'm going to jump in really quickly and say, you know, I was thinking about that kind of fear of being challenged. And like the fear I see myself with comparison is being afraid I don't know enough. My depth of knowledge, and this because I'm like a lifelong learner and tenacious learner. I always say I'm in reckless pursuit of knowledge. And I'm always afraid I don't know enough. I don't know every single thing. Therefore, how could I be of service? And that plays through my head because, you know, usually when you know something, there's always someone who probably knows a little bit more. And I've had to realize, but my clients don't know probably half of what I do know.
Right.
And so that compare, and I'm still comparing myself with the person who knows way more than I do. And that's where you should be comparing, if anything, yourself to your clients, so that you can see I can still help them. But that was like, I know, like the biggest hurdle for me, because especially in technology, there's a lot to know. And so I know I don't know everything. I think, honestly, there's no way I could know everything. There's no way one person could know everything, but I know so much more than my clients. And I had to really rest in that, because it was very scary for me because I'd always help people with technology, always, always, always. But I would never put myself out as a technology person because I didn't know everything. Right.
And you know what? It's about giving ourselves permission to be able to say, I don't know what that is, but do you know what? I'm going to go and find out, and I'll come back to you and I'll let you know.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Exactly the same thing. It's like, I have recovering perfectionism syndrome, and it's held me back. And I've learned to stop, because Emily will attest to this. I'll research until the cows come home. I know what the hell I'm talking about, but it doesn't get, but my clients look to me as their guide, right? And so you want to make sure that you are giving value, and for all of us, I think it's the fear of not knowing enough, or a fear of being the imposter. But I think for me too, it's like I really have a hard time. I know some of the people were commenting here. I think Jason and some of the people talk about there's always these experts, and that's something that I learned at the Social Boom thing. Is like people that say that they're the guru or they're the expert, as Emily, as Kate has attested to, aren't necessarily always that. So I think by coming out here and making yourself be visible and being online and being authentic to who you are, you'll attract the right people, and people will see you for the value that you have. So you got to push yourself past those boundaries, right?
Yeah. I love what Dave has said in the comments. So I'd rather be told someone doesn't know than be given the first piece of BS they think of. Absolutely. No, I mean, I've worked in email marketing for over 10 years now, but I don't know everything there is to know. A lot of it is about testing and seeing what happens. So, I would much rather say, do you know what? Let's test that and see what happens, or let me come back to you on that one. And I'll think of some ideas, because I can't think of them on the spot right now. Let me come back to you on that one. And it's giving ourselves permission that, yes, we are experts in what we do. We are all experts in our fields, because we know more than our clients, like you said, Africa. And that's where we can teach them. But, there is no one, absolutely no one in this world that knows everything about everything, or knows everything about a specific topic. If you think of, do you guys know that program Mastermind? When they sit in the chair and they ask them questions about their specialist subjects, and they're tested, quick fire questions about, and they all focus in on a specific subject. But if you look at something like that, not even the experts that are going on a program like that they're specialists in a specific subject, get all the answers right. Because it's impossible, that's just not how life works. So even the people who, other people would class as experts as well, no one can know everything. And you know what? Sometimes your brain just goes blank, and you just have a moment where you go, I haven't got a freaking clue. It can be the easiest thing in the world, and your mind will go blank,
That happened to me. And you're right. It's like, I think that makes people more relatable when you say, you know what? I don't know the answer, but I'll find it out.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
I think it's about trusting ourselves, right? We have to trust ourselves. And I think that we sometimes get really wrapped up in right versus wrong, right? Black versus white. There is no right versus wrong. Truth is so subjective, right? The reason that this chair that I'm sitting in is called a chair is because we decided, however, when, at whatever point, that it was called a flipping chair. But somebody somewhere doesn't call it a chair. And so to argue with that person about it being called a flipping chair is sort of ridiculous, because it doesn't matter what it's called. It serves the same purpose, right? So I think sometimes we get really, really wrapped up in shit that just doesn't matter. And my experience of it being a chair is right for me, right? That is my truth. And your truth is something totally different to you. And so sometimes rather than respecting somebody else's way of thinking, their perception, their journey, what we do is our insecurities pop out, and then we have to try to convince you that my way is the best way or the only way or the right way. And I think that's where a lot of that, stuff manifests, that fear pops up, and it gets people into trouble, right? I mean, I've been there. I'm speaking from personal experience, by the way. Like, I've had to work myself through that little pattern. So, I'm blessed now to be able to say that I can respect somebody else's opinion, even if it's not something that aligns with me.
Yeah. I think the word expert in itself has a very different definition for everyone. It's like the word expensive. That has a different definition for everybody. A millionaire and what they think is expensive to somebody who earns, nothing every year is completely different. So the word expert means different things to different people. And I think that word is overused. I know that I've worked in email marketing for a long time. I know a lot about email marketing. I can help you improve your email marketing, same as you ladies in your industries as well. But absolutely, I like the comment of let somebody else call you an expert. And if that's what they feel about you, that's brilliant. All I can say is, I've worked in the industry for this long. I am very good at what I do. I know I can get you results. If you want to call me an expert, brilliant. But that's just a term. It's just a label. Like you just said, Emily, it's like a chair. It's just a label that we're putting on something, and it means different things to different people.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's say, Roy, question or a tip?
Go ahead, Darla.
Did you have a question? Did you want to add to it?
No, I was pointing out what Roy said because it's so on with.
You stopped. She stopped on.
Oh, she's frozen.
She froze on us. Okay, I'll go. So Roy says about being an expert. I say that there are two sides to everything. Not opposite sides, but it keeps popping up. But side by side, the mechanical side and the mindset side. Therefore, one can be an expert about how to use a tool like Blab and Twitter, but they can't be an expert on why to use a tool like Blab or Twitter. There are no rules when it comes to social media tools. Why just makes sure that your why is bigger than your butt? Your what? Is that what he wanted to say?
Well,
LOL.
Why is bigger than your butt?
I like that.
I must say, do you know what? Something that does really annoy me is, I see this happening quite a lot, and it's particularly when you've worked at something for a very long time, and you've been in the trenches and you've done it for a very long time, and then you get these people who come up and they've studied it for a year, and then they call themselves an expert, and you're sitting there going, are you serious? Are you kidding me? I've done this for 10 times longer than you. Trust me, you are not an expert. And again, it's that perception of what people feel an expert is. My idea of an expert is somebody who's been doing it for a long time, has hands-on experience doing it, has got proven results, all of those kind of things. But then you get these people who, because they've studied it for a year, they think they're then an expert on it. But again, it's that terminology and how they're putting what they feel into that word.
But I also think, don't you ladies think that you hear in the coaching, / information world that so everyone is a coach nowadays, and there really is a lot of suggestions and folks out there, Brendon Burchard being one of them, right? He stood up in front of an audience. Darla and I were there together, about 1,000 people, and said, you are an expert in something, right? And so there are people out there that are telling people that they need to claim that fame, right? And so I think that there's both sides to that. I think it can be done in a negative way. And I think that sometimes it's a great, you mentioned this earlier, it's a great way for us to work on ourselves, right? It's our response to somebody, coming in. So I've been coaching in some capacity for the last 10 years. But if somebody brand new comes into my market and they're like, woo, I'm the brand new hot to trot coach in this market, am I going to be offended by that? Am I going to be a little bit like, wait a minute, do you really freaking know what you're doing? Or am I going to embrace them and love them up and let them be on their own path and on their own journey and attract their own people and let those people have their own experience, right? Like, I think that's a very, very interesting conversation to begin to have, and how we approach fear.
Absolutely. It's all our internal things, isn't it? Again, it's how your brain perceives things. And, you know, even just between the four of us, we will have different thoughts and feelings and reactions to different things. You know, someone could say the same sentence to all four of us and we'll all react differently. So I absolutely agree, Emily.
Because I think there's people out there that are experts. They've been doing it for a long time. They have a lot of social proof. They haven't, but I would not spend money with them. They don't resonate with me. They don't whatever. And somebody who's brand new, who knows less than them, I might be like, you know what? I'm going to spend $2,000 on your program because I like you and I like what you're doing. So I think that the longevity doesn't matter to me as much as the person and what it is that they have to offer and bring to the table. So I don't know. That piece is a very interesting sort of how we all interpret it, you know?
Yeah. Well, I think if you relate to that person, right? So, you know, we all, you know, you and I and 1,000 other people went to Brendon Burchard's thing. So, but have I invested in him since then? No, I have not. And it's not because I don't like him. I do like him. I like what he says, but I don't need what he has to offer right now. So I'm looking for different things. And so that, you know, that's a whole other topic of conversation about what you've invested in and, you know, all of that stuff. So I think it's great, though, what you guys are saying. Africa, do you have anything to say? You've been kind of quiet.
Well, I got kind of, my technology went. So I had to refresh. No, and this might have already been said while I was in refreshment, but sometimes we just don't know that person's journey that seems to be coming out of nowhere. They could have failed at a million things before, you know, like failing forward. And I think the comparison also of, well, they're doing this now, and I've been doing this a long time. They seem fresh in the field. When you don't know what they've been doing leading up, you don't know what other skill sets they're bringing to bear on jumping in. So I just think the best comparison is when you compare yourself to yourself.
Perfect.
Come from 3 months ago, 6 months ago, a year ago. You know, it almost doesn't matter what other people around you are doing other than to get an idea of what might be going on in your field. But as for comparison, compare to yourself, because that's a person that you should be competing against, because you should be improving over time. And I think even sometimes, and I know I talked about numbers earlier, to have your numbers track your metrics, sometimes it can be scary to even do that comparison. And so it's easier to kind of push it off on someone else saying, I could be doing this, I could be doing that. Why are they getting the recognition? When you're not, you're too scared to look at what have you been doing and how far you've come or not.
Oh, I totally agree.
Right?
Yeah, it's totally agree. I think that's excellent. And I think that, you know, do you know what the key is, ladies? Let's get rid of this word expert. You know, I love what Vic just said in the comments. So Warren Buffett is an excellent stock investor, but he doesn't claim to be an expert investor. Bill Gates is an expert in technology, but he doesn't claim to be an expert. You know, let's just get rid of this word. You know, it's all about how can you help people? What benefits can you bring to people? What are those results that they're going to see? Whether it's a service that you're offering or a product that you're selling. You know, let's get rid of this whole word expert, because like you say, it means different things to different people, and different people are bringing different experiences to the table. So let's just get rid of that word altogether, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's the same thing, like the guru, you know, all of that. You know, it's the same thing. Yeah. So, and I think that makes a difference. Like, I think Emily or Africa, somebody had said, if somebody else calls you that, that's their perception of you. That's okay. I don't necessarily call myself that. I mean, I've had people say, oh, Darla's a branding expert. That's why I purposely titled myself branding strategist, because I don't want that perception, because I want people to want to approach me. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So, yeah. So there's so somebody, I think Roy had a question here. Does somebody want to answer it? Because I don't know that I did that.
I don't think anyone should call themselves an expert. I think that's very big-headed and very wrong to do. I don't think anyone should be calling themselves an expert. Like you say, you're a brand strategist or, an evangelist or whatever it might be. So I sometimes throw out there sort of jokingly, I'm the queen of email marketing, but it's more of a jokey thing. Do you know what I mean? I would never sit there and go, I am the, absolute expert in this, because I don't know everything. I really don't. I know a lot, but not everybody can know everything. So I think the term expert should just be cut out.
Well, I agree with you. I'm on the let's slash the expert and the people that call themselves experts, and we've all met them. Had a tip or a question. I'm trying to make sure to what Emily just said, which was probably a little while ago. People buy from people they know. Therefore, I say content is not king. The content provider is king. The reason is because I can't have a relationship with your content. I can only have a relationship with you, the content provider. Just saying. That's awesome. That's awesome. Where are you rock, dude?
This really quick. I want to get a shout out to Mr. Dave Moore, because that's why I cracked up. He says you shouldn't call yourself anything but available.
That's awesome, Dave.
Don't be too available though, ladies.
Which one you mean available?
Crack me up. Love it. Love it.
That's amazing. That's great. That's great. Well, you guys, it is 12 after 10, and I know you guys are all busy people, and we so appreciate you guys being here. Yeah. So you guys are amazing. Thanks for joining us. I think we probably should wrap it up because I know Emily's got a call, and Kate, it's late there on her Friday night.
It's 5:10, so it's not too bad. It's not too bad. I've got a call at 5:30 with a client, so I'm all right for a few minutes.
Okay, all right. Well, I think it's good for us to, if anybody's got another a wrap-up question or wrap-up answer to our topic here, and you guys let us know if there's. I think we really hit on a lot of great topics here. We want to make sure that we're addressing it for the rest of the month. Since we're embracing October and everything that scares you. And I had a client that I met with a week or so ago, and she said technology scares the bejeebies out of her. She said, I am terrified by being online. I'm terrified about, being in front of the camera. So that just started this whole journey down this road. So therefore, that's why I'm wearing black. Next time I might wear a Halloween shirt. So I'm asking my girlfriend to do the same thing, because I do have a shirt I couldn't find that says "Bite Me." I couldn't find it.
I'll wear orange.
Is that you being available, Darla?
Kate, I'm coming over to get you.
Sorry. I always lower the tone, don't I, when I come on?
I'm even blushing. I'm red now.
Sorry.
All good. So we really want to hear from you guys. And we're all on Twitter. We're all on Facebook. So if you have a comment, and sometimes it takes a little while for things to sit, let us know. Oh, look, Vic's giving Kate some props. Bringing her up. Whee! Way to go, Vic. Come on, all of ours. He makes us all feel good, doesn't he? So this is awesome. So, so we love to hear from you guys. If you guys, find us over on Twitter. We all love to engage on Twitter. A lot of times we take the conversation from Twitter to Blab or Blab to Twitter. And, let us know what are some topics that you want to learn about that are scary. We don't pretend to be experts, bad word, everything, but we like to talk about it because we're just like you. And so that's my 2 cents. And I'm going to go ahead and put my my little go-to where you guys can find me. And I'd love to connect with you. I'd love for you guys to join my tribe. I am working on all of my one of the things that scares me is making sure that I'm getting all my email stuff together. So I'm going to be talking to Miss Kate, who's going to help me with my email sequence, because I've got it, but I've got a whole new topic, a whole new thing I'm really focusing on. So, yeah. So you guys are awesome. So glad you guys are here. It's been a great conversation. I'm going to go ahead and put my stuff in, and you guys all sign off. And we will see you next Friday, same time, same place, right?
Bye, guys.
Absolutely.
Have a
Yeah.
good
So you guys put your stuff in here. Does anybody want to say goodbye?
Bye.
Oh, you guys are with us. Thanks for being with us. You you guys, and let us know. We seriously love to have you guys on. Thanks for joining us today. And we hope you guys have a scary, awesome weekend.
Yes. Bye.
All right, guys. Bye. Thanks for coming on.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.